Hey, what's up? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, as you may have read on the title or saw on the thumbnail, I'm going to be explaining to you how I made what I'm lovingly calling a butterfly chandelier. I guess this would more technically be called a mobile or a mobile. I don't know. For some reason, somehow, I got the wild idea to make a chandelier out of butterflies. Don't know where this idea came from. I've never done anything like this ever before. Something about just being kind of cooped up and not able to like go out into the world much lately has just made me very crafty. That combined with watching hours and hours of Christine McConnell, my queen. If you're brand spanking new to my channel, I am the biggest Taylor Swift fan ever. Just felt very inspired by her pink and blue kind of like pastel color scheme, so that was definitely my color palette inspiration. But other than that, I really didn't have a lot to work with. I just kind of thought butterflies were perfect. They fit the whole motif of Lover. Okay, let's get started. This is how you make a butterfly chandelier. You're going to need Sculpy, which is a sculptable bakeable clay, a mold of your choosing. Any craft store will have what is called candy molds. That's what I used, is a silicone candy mold shaped with butterflies. They make them for anything. There's stars, there's hearts, whatever you feel like, go for it. Gonna need a hot glue gun, hot glue sticks. I used clear fishing wire to string my chandelier, some kind of a clear bead of your choosing, acrylic paint of your choosing, and a wooden kind of placard. And that's it. That's the supplies you need for this craft. God forbid you ever do it. I started out using white clay to make all of my butterflies and then painting them to the pink and blue colors that I wanted specifically. This worked out okay, but I ultimately ended up liking my second technique better, which was just using blue and pink clay to begin with. Then I got to skip out the middleman part of actually painting the white butterflies. Once I had them all in the candy mold, I baked them at 275 degrees for about 15 minutes. I tried to get them in the silicone mold as smooth as possible, and then once they had finally cooled, I was able to paint them. As I said, I chose the colors pink and baby blue for my color scheme, so I just painted them in alternative colors between blue and pink in equal parts. And then in order to make them look a little more realistic, at least as realistic as I was able to pull off with my artistic skills, which is zero, first I would paint a butterfly pink or blue, and then I would do the opposite color for the wing accents. I would do a light blue for the first layer, and then I would go back in with a darker blue to give it more depth and accents, and then I would finally finish it off by giving it a little pink or blue body. Since these weren't flush and even to each other on the backside, I did have to go down and sand every single butterfly down to have a smooth backside so they could fit together. Then I made what I'm calling butterfly sandwiches out of these. I filled the center of the butterflies with hot glue, and then I carefully placed a jump ring in the center of the hot glue, just with about half of it sticking out. And then I put a little more hot glue on, or sometimes I didn't need to at all, and just sandwiched the other butterfly right on top of it. After I made all these little butterfly sandwiches, that is when I decided to switch my technique into using colored clay, which I would highly recommend. It saved me a lot of time and ultimately just looked cleaner overall. I once again painted the pink and blue butterflies in alternating colors and coated them again with a clear gloss. And then once again made a million little butterfly sandwiches out of them. Finally, I felt like it was time to stop aimlessly making butterflies and get a good actual count of how many I was going to need to pull off what I wanted. I had envisioned this entire time making this into a spiral helix and have them just kind of draping down in a staircase kind of manner. I tried to draw a perfect swirl on wood several times. It did not work out any of those times. So I decided to just freehand it. I just went for it. I eyeballed it and I used my husband's drill. Pretty much just went for it. I tried to space them about like a butterfly length apart from each other just so they wouldn't be too close on the thing once I hung it. Even though they're on different levels, I still didn't want them to be too jumbled, so I tried to space them out accordingly. And then I just went around the entire surface of this little 8-inch wooden circle and drilled holes until I had gotten to the center. Then I felt like I had a good number. I could count the holes and figure out how many butterflies I needed to make. And that's when I really kicked into gear and finished making all of the butterflies for this project. I don't know how to paint. I am not really what I would consider an artist, so I did the only painting technique I could think of, which was pretty much jabbing my paintbrush onto this wooden surface. I would put some paint on my paintbrush, tap a little bit off, kind of how you would makeup, honestly, and then just splotch it onto this canvas. I was trying to make it look kind of like pastel tie-dye vibes. Like I said, very Taylor Swift Lover inspired. And I just kept overlapping the blue and pink until they looked blended enough that looked good to me. Finally came the fun part. And by fun part, I mean horrible, awful, do not recommend this for anyone anytime part, which was stringing it. Stringing this chandelier definitely was the most challenging and difficult part by far of doing this entire project. Finding those little holes with clear fishing wire was quite a feat. It took me quite a while. I did this probably in about 10 butterfly increments. I would work on it for a little bit, lose my mind, go crazy, come back to it again, work on it a little bit, and keep repeating that until I was done. Originally, I had the idea of doing 2 helixes, kind of alternating one another, kind of like a DNA strand, you know what I mean? But ultimately, once I finally got done stringing the first layer and started on the second layer, I decided I really didn't like how that looked. So sadly, I had to cut all of those pieces off. It was a little heartbreaking, but I understood it was for the greater good. And honestly, I am glad that I made that call. I think it looks a lot nicer and a lot cleaner. To string everything, I did this just all by eyeballing it. I took the butterfly and held it where I wanted it, measured the fishing wire, and then looped it back around. And then up top, I tied everything with a clear iridescent tiny little jeweler's bead just to give it a cute look up top and make everything aesthetically pleasing, even though you can't see the top at all while it's hung up. Since I did have so many extra holes at the end, I went ahead and decided to hang a single heart down the middle, which I think is just a cute little detail. I like that a lot. Like I said, stringing it was definitely difficult, really tedious, not easy. I'd be straight up lying if I told you guys that that process was fun or easy. It was neither. I never know. I also wanted to include several clips of me untangling this thing because, as I said before, this thing got tangled so many times. Every time I moved it, it got tangled, and untangling it took quite a long time. I want to say I spent at least 3 or 4 hours in the entirety of making this chandelier just detangling it alone. So I have no idea how I'm ever gonna move it. I'm pretty sure it is now an integral part of our apartment and can never leave ever because I can't bear to detangle it one more time in my life. Finally, to hang it, I hung 4 points on it. I just took a string through 4 holes that were pretty much in the shape of a square and brought them all up to the top center and then tied those together and hung it on a hook. About 2.5 months later, I made a butterfly chandelier. Like I said, I'm insanely proud of it. I love it. I think it's beautiful. I'm really pleased that I had an idea that came out of nowhere. Nobody like made a YouTube video being like, this is how you do this or anything. Like, this was just a completely organic idea that I had in my brain, which is so rare for me. It is so rare that I just get these like art ideas where I'm like, I want to make this piece of art. Like, that almost literally never happens to me. But like I said, I've been watching a lot of Christine McConnell. She just makes me want to be crafty in some way, and I am very pleased that I was able to pull this off. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, at least for entertainment value. It was quite a feat. It was a lot. It definitely tested me in many ways, but I am so glad I did it. And honestly, once I finished it, I was like, what do I do with my hands now? So spoiler alert, there might be another butterfly chandelier video because maybe I couldn't help myself, and maybe I'm making 2 / maybe I'm already working on the second one now, and maybe there is a light involved. Thank you all so much for watching and being patient with me. I know that since I'm no longer uploading weekly, it is giving me the freedom to do things like this, so thank you for sticking around if you're still here. I really appreciate it. I hope you're all finding ways to keep yourself safe and entertained during these crazy and uncertain times. Please let me know if you're doing any crafts. I love talking to you guys in the comments. Thank you again for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time I post a video. It'll be on Wednesday. I just can't tell you what Wednesday. I hope to see you guys there. Bye.